happened? Are you live?
Yeah, I'm live.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's
great.
okay. That's what we were intending to do.
That's exactly right.
That's what we wanted to do anyway.
I just got to switch my camera around and I'm not sure. Oh, there it goes.
We've done this before.
We've done
We really
so
have.
many times. Hi, everybody. Welcome. I'm Lynn from I.O.D. So happy to have you here today. We are, let's see, it's Monday. So happy Monday, everyone. Well, we're finishing up the last series today, the last of the series of our decoupage inlays and transfers on fabric. So if you haven't caught the previous two that we did,
What were the other two?
we did transfers on fabric, and we have done.
You tell me.
We're doing inlays today. Decoupage on fabric.
Okay.
And then because we created.
So it's really just doing stuff on fabric is a series.
Just doing stuff on fabric. This was what we
that.
featured. I love this so much. I'll talk a little bit more about this too, and some thoughts that I had about that. But welcome. Happy Monday. EJG'S is here in Medina, New York. We are a little brick and mortar shop right here on Main Street. We would love to have you visit anytime. If you are not local, you can find us at inlays.com. Megan's here with us today.
Hi.
And we have a lot to talk about. It's been a lot going on. And since you guys are all on the inside scoop, I'll tell you a story about what happened to me. You're not going to believe it, but I think it's good to tell you because
It's a word of caution.
a word
To
of
all of you who-
caution.
I would say to those of you who are doing too much and speeding things, I feel I've warned you about this.
Yes, you have.
Well, no, actually, I didn't know it could really happen, but I was worried of choking. That's what I always worried, that you were going to choke.
Well, we'll talk about that in a minute, okay? So today what we're going to do is continue in that little series. We're going to be doing inlays, I.O.D. inlays on fabric.
Beautiful.
And I have already started this wonderful pillow. I'll talk a little bit more about that. This is a vintage pillowcase, and I just kind of refashioned it. So I have some things to say about that. But while I'm at it, let me take that pillow form out. So we're going to be ready to roll when we're ready to remove the other inlay on this. These are I.O.D. inlays, and lo and behold, you can use them on fabric. And I did some on fabric. I reupholstered a chair. I did a upholstered chair and used inlays way back when I.O.D. first released them. So that's kind of a fun video to see over on YouTube. But today, like I said, we're gonna use vintage pillowcases. I love them. I love old linens and textiles. And you know when you get them, like the crocheted edges are so beautiful, but a lot of times they're stained. So I thought, let's figure out a way to disguise those and come up with something really pretty and upcycled. So that's what we're doing today. And I guess I'll be ready to switch the camera down. We've had a big weekend.
So much
big
fun.
week.
Well, not this weekend was. Well, yeah, this weekend was big
My
too.
gracious,
A big couple of
been
weekends.
it's been quite a week.
A whirlwind.
A whirlwind.
as
My
they
mom
say.
celebrates her 90th birthday tomorrow, so we had a celebration to honor her, and so we're it's been a lot of things going on.
Yes, and we had camp.
We had
Since
camp.
you last saw us.
Well, no, that was.
We haven't seen them since
Oh my
camp.
gosh, yes, because Monday we did Crackle Camp.
Yep, we have
It
not
has
seen
been
them
a while.
since camp. That's how long it's been.
Oh my gosh, you guys.
We'd like to open the floor for any questions
I know.
while we're talking here.
I know. Let me flip the camera down so you can see what I'm up to, okay?
Yeah, it's been actually. So has that been 2 weeks then?
It's been a while, but thank you for hanging in there with
Yes,
us, you
thank
guys.
you. We
I hope
missed you.
hope we have some folks popping on and seeing us. So yes, this is that beautiful vintage cotton pillowcase. When I apply an inlay on fabric, again, just like with the decoupage and just like with the transfers, I want a really, really nice tight weave. This kind of cotton I love using just like old French cotton linens or like these vintage style linens. They just have such a great surface. I've done a few different projects like this and just done little blocks of them. They're fun to mount on boards or whatever. It just gives you a whole different idea for how to create some mixed media using fabric. So
I'm sorry, I'm going crazy. It cannot be 2 weeks.
it has been.
I gotta get my calendar. I think it means a week. We just went a week without going live. So
Right.
let me open a calendar before I go insane.
I'm telling
I
you.
can't imagine that we
Okay,
didn't
you
go live
guys,
for 2
sound
weeks.
off. Let Megan know.
Okay, so
'cause
that means we didn't go live all of last week. Today's Monday, right?
we were going to go live during Crackle Camp, but it
I know,
was
but we
so
didn't.
intense that we
Okay,
couldn't.
so we went live last. I would say it had to have been June 11th because that would be Wednesday the 11th, right? Well,
Right.
I know I'm going to check featured on our live tutorials.
There you go.
My collections. That's how I'll know.
All right.
Excuse me while I check that. Thank
You
you. On
may-
ellenjgoods.com.
Beautiful. Okay, so let's talk about what you need to do to prepare this. And I know there's a lot of different methods, different ways to prepare your fabric when you are using I.O.D. inlays. Countless ways, right? Everybody that has an idea or a thought has a different way. You can apply them, you can paint the surface, apply them into paint. You can use a clear medium like Debbie's DIY, liquid patina. You can put them into a top coat. So what I like to do is just like we did with our other two projects, I like to prepare my fabric with the Pentart fabric medium. This is a great product for preparing your surface for paint, for any other types of mediums you want to use. So I literally just brush this on. You've seen me do it. I'm only going to do a little bit, but I use a nice wide brush and I work that into the fabric and let it dry completely. It's I think that, what I don't have is water, of course.
Let me help you
Fancy
with that.
that.
Let me help you with
Here, I'll let you take this brush too while you're at it. Thank you. So I think that to have good success with any project that you do, for example, when you are painting, the prep is so important. When you're doing projects like this, the prep is so important. You're going to have the best results by doing most of the work on the front end of your project. And then the other steps will fall into place a little bit easier. Give yourself plenty of time between each step to let things dry naturally on their own, and I think that you'll meet success. This is not a perfect method because the I.O.D. inlays are not made, they're not designed to be a perfect image like you would see with a transfer. So just know that. Now we're going even further off brand. We're not applying these into paint. We're applying these onto fabric, a textile. So there may be some variables here that you need to be aware of. I would always suggest, I love that they come in little snack-sized pieces so that it's easy to snip off just a little piece of an inlay and practice this on a piece of fabric before you would do a whole complete project. Always, always would recommend that. So let's look at this. This is that textile medium. It is on here and it's dried. You've seen me do this in the past 2 videos. Let me quickly dry that.
Okay, do you want to know when we went live last?
Yeah.
June 4th.
June 4th.
So that's been 12 days.
Holy moly, you guys.
Although
That's crazy.
I did go live on June 11th. That's what
You
I was
did,
thinking of.
you
Some
did.
of you may have seen me really in my comfort zone, looking like a terrified animal.
Yes.
Going live for about 3 minutes.
I'm going to show you now, like another example. We did have and do have a I.O.D. inlay the ins and outs of inlays series that we did as a private Facebook workshop. We are this close, so close to getting the last couple of our paid private workshops in Facebook with YouTube video links. So, but this one is done. If you are ever interested to see how we used inlays on every kind of background, using every kind of medium, we covered it all there. And that was a really fun,
Yes.
that was great. It was a great video. But this is the Paradise inlay that and I'm sure we used Debbie's DIY, liquid patina, and we applied that directly onto drop cloth, but you would see how we did that. Okay, it's all about the prep, guys, all about that prep.
Yes.
So we are going to use the beautiful Floriography. Every time I open this inlay, I fall in love more with it.
When I first saw that was the first thing I thought, was that it is a perfect for teaching inlay and practicing on little small things.
Right.
It's great for cutting apart, right?
Yeah, so just as a reminder, I used it. This was a recent edited YouTube video that I did, and I used the Floriography inlay all across the top of this vintage mantle clock with Chanticleer.
You can still purchase the ins and outs class, right?
Oh yeah, yep, absolutely.
Okay, so that's a good time for me to, I will add that to the collection for today so
Sure.
you can find that.
I'm pretty sure you can, yes.
I will find out right now. But that's a good time for me to mention that collection, if that's okay, Mom?
Sure, of course.
Or if you don't want me to interrupt right now, I can do it in a minute.
No, go ahead. I'm just going to kind of slowly flip through this just a little bit.
Okay, so it's not a big collection today, which is nice, but if you want to find everything Mom is using, I made a collection for today, a total supply list, and you can find a link to that in the description down below if you're watching on YouTube, up above if you're watching on Facebook, or you can go to inlays.com and look for the menu item featured on our live tutorials. Just look for today's date and the title of this live, and you can find that supply list there.
This is gorgeous. I love this dresser right here. So good. So that is the Floriography inlay. Lots of smaller pieces, so you do get to practice. What I've already done is I have cut some of these out already because I'm going to lay them on my pillow, and then we're going to go from there. How about that? And I got to remember how I did these. Always happens.
Mary said I did smile once, and Karen said she felt bad for me because I looked.
You look terrified.
So
I know, right? She did look scared.
don't-
How did I put these on here?
I'm just not used to it, so I don't even know to look at my own face on the camera to see what I'm looking like. I need to do that. I didn't know until afterwards that I did look so.
Terrified?
Yeah, and that's not a good look. You want to look happy and excited about what's going on, which is actually how I feel.
One of the ways that I kind of prepared this in advance too is I have just a big canvas board that I use just to provide some stability, and then I just taped it down. Because when you start wetting fabric, and it'll move around, but you can also get those sticky boards that are great as well. And would you know, I had this like so perfectly laid out, and it's like, what did I do?
Carolyn said, how does Lynn put her hand in front of that heat gun? Ow.
Oh gosh, I know. Aren't I terrible? I am so bad. Okay.
Deborah said, what percale would you recommend? Am I saying that right?
Percale. One of the things, Deborah, percale sometimes does have polyester in it. So I do want to say that you really should use, oh, that's the same. I don't want that. You should use 100% cotton.
Okay.
I'm just going to say it. You should use 100% cotton. I don't want to use this same one that I have here. So I'm just going to, you guys are getting to see what I do here. Just playing around with all this.
I think that's what they came for.
I know.
Lisa, we miss you since camp.
Okay, let me trim these a little bit, and I might have to go back. I thought I had this all worked out, and then lo and behold, I didn't. But it's okay. It's fun flipping through these and kind of because here's what happened. I have a couple of these open, and I have the same thing here that I do here, and I don't want that, so let's cut
Yes,
that.
I did feel like a deer in headlights. And what I don't understand is how my husband just was so not nervous and perfectly casual, just strolling onto camera with a decoupage queen apron on. He was not nervous.
Or did he have a t-shirt?
No, he had the apron on. And
Oh
he
my
was
gosh,
totally,
that is so funny.
Not
That's so
nervous.
funny.
No, I don't know that I will ever get really comfortable with that. I'm going to try to get a little better, but yeah, I don't know when he became such a pro. Totally casual.
Yeah, right.
Could you use inlay on drop cloth?
I would say if you prep appropriately, I would practice. Drop cloth is, so this is drop cloth. It has a very nubby open weave, so I really did prepare this in advance so that I had a good solid surface to apply my inlay to.
Carolyn said she used the tulip inlay yesterday with Pentart plaster.
You did? Oh my gosh, with the plaster.
Carolyn is loving these
Carolyn
wall products,
is
and I
loving
love
the
that
wall
for her.
products, is right. And we love the wall products too.
The name of this inlay is Floriography.
And it is beautiful. You know that with I.O.D inlays, once they are gone, they are retired and gone. So you won't see them again. So if you are a fan, I would encourage you to grab some. Let's see, maybe I'll do this little, oh, nope, I got that one there. Oh my gosh, can you believe it? That's what happens when you are obsessive about things and like, oh, I need to open just one more. So maybe what we'll do, forgive me you guys, I just gotta kind of figure this out. But that's the fun of this, isn't it? Just figuring out the layout.
I love watching you do layout. I think everyone does.
Yeah, and I kind of am digging that little shit. Well, maybe not. I really do have to like think through it, and I'm gonna grab these too. But look how easy. You just cut out the piece you need, and then you've got all the rest of this that you can work with. But I think that's what I really love about inlays. I'm not afraid of them. I've made my mistakes with them, of course. If you use inlays, don't be afraid. These are not meant to be like a perfect image, like a transfer. And I love that about them. I really do. I think that that is one of my favorite things about them because there is that little bit of element of surprise. I don't want to say surprise, but discovery of maybe a new texture that you never embraced before. And if you like the texture of old weathered wood or faded linens, or if you love that, then I think that you can embrace the beauty of inlays and the organic quality that they have.
Delray is feeling a lot better.
Hey, that's awesome.
I was praying for that, Delray. Mary Casey said, "Don't feel bad, Megan. I once had to give a presentation at work and was so nervous I started crying."
Oh my
Mary.
goodness. I don't know if you all have ever seen that. There's it's on Instagram. I've seen it. That guy we like to watch. He's so funny. He's so funny. And he does.
Oh, that guy?
Yes. He does like the HSN
yes,
and
yes.
QVC like
Yes.
voiceovers in his own. Oh my gosh, hysterical. Anyway, he did one of some college. Not a college professor, but an admissions person at a college. And she was so nervous that she literally could not stop laughing. It was hysterical. Hysterical. Oh my gosh. And that is how it came out for her. She was just terrified
giggling.
to giggle fits like you wouldn't believe. So I don't want to forget what I'm using here. I'm just going to take these because sure enough, as soon as I take my eyes off of these, I'm going to forget what I laid out here. And yes, some of them may be upside down or backwards or whatever. It's okay.
Good question, Stephanie.
Yes.
Can you reuse them once they've been applied to fabric? Probably
Sure.
not in this medium.
Sometimes you can. And again, what a great opportunity to discover. When you are using inlays, just like with any other DIY products, you're using your mediums, your techniques. It's your environment that you're in. So it may be that my result is going to be a little bit different from yours just because of the differences in what products we use and how we apply things.
I do feel so far, at least what I've seen you do, when you've used a decoupage medium or a varnish of some kind, you haven't had the best luck reusing an inlay.
Right.
So
However,
you have.
Shock of shocks, when we were at PBA, Josie did an inlay in, I think we used a top coat, a varnish of some kind, and after she removed it, I'm like, well, I'm just going to try it again. Let's see what happens. And lo and behold, I was able to use it again, and it turned out this beautiful sepia color. These black ones kind of turn a little rusty sepia, like a deep brown sepia tone. So I'm going to use the same method that I would use on furniture. I'm going to mist the back of it with my Mister. I have applied the Pentart decoupage varnish and glue for textiles, and then I'm going to lay this into that medium. I'm going to make sure that I have enough over the entire surface. But here again, even if I don't, it's going to look worn and aged, and it's okay. It's all right. If you walk past enough, you'll never know if you've missed a spot.
Marnie, we miss you too.
Then what I want to do is I'm going to take my I.O.D. brayer. I know I had it here, Megan.
I know you did too.
I showed you. There it is. And let's brayer that in, get that really embedded into that decoupage varnish and glue for textiles. Look at that. So when you apply, just like you would on furniture or any art, any decor, if you were putting this in paint, you have to make sure that your inlay is completely embedded into the medium. I think one of the biggest mistakes that we make is, having an uneven application of paint or varnish, and it's easy to do, you guys, especially when you're working with clear mediums. So you do want to be sure that you are getting enough product on there and really pressing that inlay into the medium. So I'm going to let that sit like that for a minute, and let's flip over this guy. This is so fun. And then with these products here, it almost gives it a little bit of a leather-ish feel.
Delia, the inlay is called Floriography, and you can find links to all the things Mom is using in a supply list that I made. It's linked, I think where are you watching? On YouTube? Or Facebook. There's a collection linked in the description up above, but also on EJG'S.com under featured on our live tutorials. You can find all of this stuff. I'll give you a link.
Get that pressed right in. And I'll tell you, one of the mistakes that I've often made is getting these too wet. Like if I mist them and get them too wet, or I roll my decoupage medium back and forth, or my paint, it can move around if you've got too much of it. So that's where, you guys, it's really important to practice and practice and get a feel for it. I think there's a little bit of my lunch. There's a little bit of glitter from another project, but I'm okay with that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and move my next one, or do my next one here. But I'm getting plenty of that medium. And then we're going to give this a little bit of a mist. And you can see when you wet these, they become a little more vibrant. The pattern becomes more vibrant, a little clearer. Then as the inlay and the medium begin to dry, it fades. I got a lot of extra there, so I'm just going to quickly grab a little baby wipe.
That one's really pretty.
Isn't that beautiful? See, I had a little bit of a smudge there, but that's okay. It's all right. It's all okay, you guys.
Debbie wants to know if you are pressing hard with the brayer.
I am pressing firmly and gently.
And Carolyn wants to know, do you have a board or something in between the layers of the pillowcase
I
fabric?
do. Yes, I do. This is just a canvas board under here. I want that stability. Oh, I almost sprayed with the wrong thing. Whoops.
Yeah.
Whoops.
What is that, glue? Like an
It's like a
adhesive?
top coat. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that would not be good.
That's a top coat. Okay, let me get that on there. Whoops. This really is a fun way. And again, it's off-brand, and by that we mean these were developed to be used with paint, and then all of a sudden we started using them more and more, and lo and behold, discovered, oh my gosh, I can use these in a clear medium. I can use them on fabric, and it's just one of the really cool like parts of discovery when you're doing something like this. And then for my last one, getting a generous amount. And then I'm going to give this a gentle mist to get those pigments activated. And then I'm going to press that into place. I need a little bit of medium over there. It's dry. Question.
Carolyn, and once it's dry and heat set, is it soft or crunchy?
It's not crunchy. I would say, I would describe it as more...
Crisp?
Not crisp, no. More... not leathery either. A little, kind of almost like a little vinyl. No,
Leather?
Yeah, it's not crunchy. And when we get to that other one that I've done before, I'll show you. But now I'm just removing a little bit of that excess medium.
Okay, Lorda says, Lynn, did you do one layer of the fabric medium and now using a second coat and applying the inlay?
I
Nope,
did.
it's
My
two different.
first layer was the fabric medium. This prepares your fabric for anything else that you're going to put on top of it. So you can paint over this stuff. You can apply other mediums over this with great success. It prepares the fabric ahead of time.
Would you almost say it's like a gesso but for fabric?
Maybe, yeah, but it's
Kind of.
transparent, you know, and then after that dried completely, I use the decoupage varnishing glue for textiles. Okay, so I've got two different things. This is the first step. Apply this step. This is the first step. Apply this. Let it dry completely overnight. And then I'm using the decoupage varnishing glue for textiles.
Think of that as like your primer.
Kind of like a primer. You're
Yeah.
right. Mm-hmm.
And of course, we're going to have the next question. Can you
Okay.
guess what it's going to be about?
Crackle.
No, about, it is relative to what you're doing.
Can I guess? How do you seal these?
No, but that's good.
We'll get to that.
Can I wash it?
Spot clean only.
Yes.
Make sure it's sealed completely, spot clean only.
Right now, the Pentart Fabric Medium does not come in a larger size, but I know somebody with an N with Pentart that might be able to ask for it in a larger size.
I would love it in a larger size.
Yeah.
You mean we don't have it here in the U.S.?
It doesn't exist right now in a larger size, but I know somebody who can ask that has their number.
That would be
Has
fantastic.
Mr. Pentart's number.
Yeah, that would be incredible.
Yes.
So now forgive me, but I need to dry these. Just let's get these going.
Because, yeah, that does seem like it would be good in a bigger size. Like
Of
a 230.
course, yeah.
I'll put that in my notes right now. Or Mrs. Pentart, Mr. and Mrs. Pentart.
So yeah, once we're done with this 3-part series, I think I'm going to move into maybe some clay or texture, or a combination of both. I haven't quite decided yet.
Well,
and then we'll be straight up into Christmas in July, you guys.
That we are going to do some things with stamps.
Well, maybe that'll be for Christmas in July. I keep putting it off.
Yes, you do.
If you are drying these and applying heat, you want to keep that moving, of course.
Carolyn says, on my computer, it almost looks like chintz fabric.
It does. I think you're right. Yeah. But this is, again, this is an antique or vintage pillowcase. So it has that really tight weave. It's not a real loosey-goosey weave.
Andrea says, I've never thought of using fabric medium by itself. I've mixed it with acrylics before to help it adhere to fabric. Yes, Mom is using it a little bit off-brand as well. I remember when I looked up the description. Remember, Mom, I was reading that to you?
Yeah.
Medium to dilute and lighten fabric and leather paint. Dries transparent. Also suitable for gluing fabric together.
Yeah,
Mom has just
totally
she's
thrown
going,
everything.
She's going rogue.
I am.
As usual.
But our other projects that we did, it
Yeah.
really worked beautifully as that first base
Yep.
for applying and making those patches that we did the decoupage on, and on the textiles, and then also even on where is it? My other project where I did, well, I'll show you again, you guys.
Stephanie, I saw your email about the Christmas book. We can't get that anymore, right, Mom? The Jeanne d'Arc Christmas book.
No, but there are 2 Christmas issues coming up that I have ordered. Magazines.
But the book, Stephanie, we can't get anymore. But I haven't responded to you because I just want to do one look around here. I think I may have one. It's not on the website.
And it might not be in perfect condition, so we can offer it.
Yeah, I just want to look for you, and then I will email you once I know. I just want to be sure.
Who is starting to think about Christmas projects? I know that you guys that do shows and markets, you gotta be. I've been seeing some Christmas ideas pop up. So it's like, here's what we do. We do Christmas in July, then switch quickly over to autumn projects, and then back to Christmas again.
Yes, it's crazy. I am excited though because the I.O.D release was kind of late last year for Christmas, and we didn't get a chance to use, I don't think, even half of it.
Oh my gracious, that's right.
So we still have like, you still have a million ideas from last year's
Yes,
release. So
and-
if there's those of you that have it and haven't had a chance to use
Yeah.
it, Mom has a lot in store.
And so we want to make sure, I'm hoping and praying, you guys, that we will get that release earlier this year. Wouldn't that be wonderful? And yeah,
Well,
that would be
you know-
amazing.
I don't know how early you want it because you still want time to use that other one.
I know, right? I know. So, okay, here's what happened to me. You all thought that I was at total exhaustion. I'm doing too much.
I still think it is a result of that.
No, that's what I do every morning.
I know, but I think that's just you going too fast. I
When
think it's part of that.
I take my medications in the morning, because I do not like swallowing, here's what I do. All of them in my mouth, gulp down some water. Every morning. I've done it that way for years. So, on this particular morning, here's what happened. I gulped down all of my pills. It didn't feel right. I'm like, oh, is it stuck in my esophagus? You know, and then you wait and think, oh, am I going to cough it up or whatever? Here's what happened. I aspired one of my pills into a bronchial tube. And it, within a few hours, developed into an uncomfortable situation where my breathing was compromised. I had to go to the emergency room. And yeah, they took care of me there. And I got myself, we were able to manage that there because of those doctors. And then because of that obstruction and also the foreign material in my lung,
She's sounding quite hoarse.
I developed it's called aspiration pneumonia. So I'm not infectious.
Yes, that's
But-
what Celeste was explaining that
Yes,
to me. Yeah.
I'm not infectious at all. Nobody can catch this from me, but it's the body's response to
Yeah.
a foreign object.
Get this out of here.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
So that's what I'm dealing with now. But they've filled me full of all kinds of good meds and
To make sure it doesn't turn into infectious pneumonia.
yes, yeah,
Because it could
yeah.
if they don't do that.
So that's it. So I still have some lung congestion. Every day it's better and better. And I feel okay. I mean, I do. I'm tired, a little bit tired, but I feel okay. I'm probably tired from camp more than anything, and just my body going through that trauma. But that's what it was. And so I said, well, doesn't it happen to us all? I'm going to end up having to eat every pill with pudding, which might not be
some
a bad
some
thing.
people do just have to do that. They just can't. I know a few people who just struggle to take pills.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you're hearing anything in here,
Yes. But you might, it's like, I could imagine that being traumatizing too.
It's very
Where it would
traumatizing.
make you now really struggle to swallow pills. But
Yeah.
the way this woman would just toss back a handful, it would stress me out. So, here we are. You and David with expelling foreign objects in the past 2 weeks.
just be careful. Let it be a warning to you. Be really, really careful.
Kathy said, I've swallowed saliva wrong and thought I was going to die.
Well,
yeah,
and-
you know that feeling.
And here's the other thing too, is like if you breathe in if you have a foreign object that is like a popcorn kernel or a hard object, a piece of food, a little bit of carrot or whatever, if you breathe something like that into your bronchial, it doesn't dissolve like this does.
No.
So it immediately,
Because you don't have the
a lot of other
digestive-
things are going on.
You don't have the digestive enzymes there either.
Exactly. So it takes a long time for that, and sometimes it has to be surgically done. I'm so thankful that didn't happen. But yeah, I was.
It has been a truly wild couple of weeks,
It really has been.
culminating in that.
I know.
Really.
I know.
Wild.
Yeah. So it was crazy. But
And-
that's what happened, you guys. And I know so many of you reached out, and I appreciate that so much. and you know, and a lot of like, you need to take care of yourself and slow down. Like, yeah, I need to slow down taking my pills.
Yeah, she does.
That's what I need to do.
But she did the right thing.
Yeah.
I didn't have to beg her or anything. I was happy about that.
Yeah. That was pretty crazy.
Yes.
It was a crazy time, crazy day.
Yeah.
And night.
Someone asked, will this feel heavily starched?
Yes. I would say that's a very, very good description of how the final product feels. So let's flip back down here. This is the one that I worked on before. This has already been sealed. I wanted to do that to protect it from my next step of removing this one, but also to protect it because the inlays are reactivated with water. You need to get those sealed down. I don't want to brush over this because I can smudge and smear like this. But even if I do, it's all right. So I just chose a Rust-Oleum.
I'm going to step away for
clear.
this. I've made the mistake of being way too close.
No, I'm not spraying this.
Oh, you're
I'm
not?
not.
Okay.
No. I just wanted to show them how I finish this. I'm not going to spray this inside up here. Not now.
I was going to say, but I have caught the draft of that before.
Not with this stuff going on. Absolutely not. I got lots of ventilation I want. So now what I want to do is I want to get this off of here. And you can see how it's faded. See how nice and crisp these are. And this, when it dries, is faded in the background. So you can either take a mister bottle, you can take a baby wipe, you can, actually I think that's what I'm going to do. You can use a sponge, and you want to dampen the back of your inlay so that it helps. So it's going to help it release from the fabric. And it's going to take a second, like let that kind of soak in just a bit. But you can see how it brightens back up, becomes from here to here. See that? Now when I get that, when I wet that backing, that carrier sheet, see what happens?
Is that a matte spray?
Yes, it is. This is matte.
Pat asks, I did an inlay on fabric, but it left a sticky finish. What went wrong?
I don't know what you used, Pat.
Yeah, what kind of products were you using, Pat? Let's start there.
This really adheres. I hope I didn't leave this on too long, but you'll see what happens if I did. There it goes. We just want to get that dampened to the point where we can lift it, start to lift that off of the paper. And it might just take a minute to let that soak in so that it'll more easily loosen. You don't want to over wet it. You don't want it sopping, saturating, but we'll let that kind of sit in there a second. And we're going to be ready to pull that off. And there it goes. If you're finding that it is resisting a little bit, just put it back down, wet that area again, and let it sit for a second. And then that should loosen that up or not. Depends on how good you are at adhering this and brayering it down. But I also did this several hours ago. So what I would do is I would probably get this off rather like when it dries. But it really does leave you a beautiful impression.
So good. Look at that. That is so
Look at that, you
satisfying.
guys. Isn't that incredible? And I got a really beautiful, crisp transfer. You might see, just because of the nature of fabric, that there could potentially be, you know, like, oh, I had a little wrinkle there or whatever. That's
but
all
really,
right.
that's very
But
good.
isn't that beautiful? And listen, if you wonder if you can use these again, here's what I say. Try it. Try it in a clear medium and see what happens. That's how we learn. And there it is. So I would Again, after this is on here, I'm going to take this outside, give this a light spray over top, and it should be good to go. Isn't that the prettiest thing? Then what I did is I trimmed off the bottom. I sewed just a hem along the bottom and allowed this to be loose so that it kind of flops over a little bit. Put my pillow form in. You could weave a beautiful vintage ribbon through there. Oh my goodness. I mean, take one of our beautiful frayed ribbons. Like, I am digging that. You could weave that through there, just a little dangly bow. It would be stunning in black also. But what a great little accent pillow. Again, it's not one that I would be laying my head all over and letting you know, the dog lay on it and stuff. You want to keep it relatively protected, I would say. But know that it's on there. It's on there, and it's going to be good. When I did that upholstered chair, we did have a customer that bought that chair, and she has been in 3 years later and has said, oh my gosh, I love that chair. It has lasted and is just such a great little accent chair. It's not one that people flop into every day like a recliner, but it's an accent chair in the corner of her bedroom, and it has held up beautifully.
Carolyn wants to know, will this be on the store website, Inland's Favorite Things, for sale?
What's that?
The pillowcase that you just made.
Carolyn, you'd let us know if that's something you're interested in.
It sounds to me like that was her letting us know that she was interested. Karen wants to know, what size did you make this?
Oh, okay, let's measure. That's a really good question, Karen.
Got a measuring tape right there. Can you reach?
Yep, I can. So the pillowcase, standard pillowcase, it's 22 inches across, and then from my fold over, and it's going to be, it depends on what your pillowcase is, right? So let's say the fold over, from that seam, is 17 inches. I'll do about a 1 inch seam at the bottom. So I'm thinking it's going to end up being about maybe 16 by 22 is about the size that it will be, give or take. Does that help? So I am so excited. So I don't even think I told you, Megan. JR's just putting up the last of the trim in the art studio.
Wonderful.
And I am so excited because you guys, I am going to take you on a journey on YouTube as I begin to put that little art studio back together and shop my own store and my own stash and set it up again.
It's going to be great.
I'm excited. This feels pretty dry. It dries quickly. How is that happening?
Well, I hope it's important.
Sorry about that, you guys. Okay, so let's wet. Just going to dampen this, let that soak in. Hopefully, I've let this sit long enough. We'll see. Check it out. Yeah, I gotta let it sit gotta let that moisture kind of soak in there, but you don't want to oversaturate it. Just remember, don't oversaturate. You just want it to soak in a little bit to into that carrier sheet so that it'll loosen and the water kind of soaks down in so that you can loosen it up.
Okay, before you matte spray it, could you add watercolor or diluted paint mixed with fabric medium?
You know, I would say I think you need to seal it completely first. I really do.
To be safe.
I think you need to seal it. I would not. Because if you get this inlay proprietary paint pigment wet, it's going to smudge and smear.
How long ago was that chair video? That would be a YouTube video, I
It is a
think.
YouTube
Yep.
video. It's edited, yes.
I'll see if I can find it,
Yeah.
Debbie. It was a upholstered chair. What was the goal of the video?
Pardon me?
What was the goal of the video? Like
Take I.O.D. inlays over fabric, on fabric.
so it'll probably be in an inlay playlist.
Yeah. I have a whole playlist also on YouTube showing all different inlay projects that I've done.
Before and after painted upholstery and
Yep.
I.O.D. paint inlays?
Yep, that's it.
Well, that was easy. Let me share that.
So as you can see here, I'm tearing mine a little bit. So I don't know that I'll get a second use out of this. But of course I've opened 3 of these Floriography inlays, so.
Did you take those out of inventory?
I did,
Thank
Megan.
you.
I sure did.
Okay, I made that video the pinned comment on Facebook. And if you're looking for it on YouTube, it is in the Inlay, I.O.D. Inlay playlist. The chair, Carolyn has a chair back round area. It's very short nylon velvet. Do you think
I
you
would
could-
not use this on nylon. If you're going to do that, what you need to do is you need to paint that first. Get a complete layer of paint down. The best way to use this is on cotton. That has been my experience. When you start working with synthetics, it just doesn't receive, the synthetics don't receive things the same way.
Kathy says, Lynn, I really enjoyed the article they did on your cottage. I did not realize you had to go without a shower. You always seem perfectly groomed and beautiful.
Oh,
She did find ways to shower.
yes, we showered at the state park
Yep.
down the road.
And that was great because Golden Hill had just gotten those
Brand new showers.
beautiful
Yep,
bathrooms.
yep, it's true.
Yep. And for a nice I think it was it $7 or $9 at the time? I don't remember, but. you can
And
get in
I'll tell you, we had the lake out front, so we
Yeah.
were in that lake all the time. Probably
the
sounds
ivory
totally gross to everybody, but
If you're a lake person, you know.
you get.
You can take
if
a
you
bath
know,
in it
you know.
if it hasn't turned over.
So I'm going to gently make sure that I am removing all of my inlay pieces, double checking to make sure that, oh, sorry, I had my head right in this camera screen. Let me pull that down a little bit more.
Hello, Jennifer. I was just actually about to text you to see if you want to get on a phone call with me tomorrow. Jennifer from Willow Run Market.
All right, and let's get that soaked. And where's Willow Run Market? I'm
In
curious.
Ohio. It's our friend Jennifer from camp.
Oh, Jennifer! Oh my gosh, why did I not make that connection?
Yeah.
Oh, that's what it's about. Yes. yes, 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 Jennifer.
Yes, a hot shower is priceless.
I was not putting the pieces together.
I don't know.
And this, you may run into this too, where you're just not able to save every bit of your transfer or your inlay, and it's okay. That woman has been at the door.
It has been different people every time.
Yep.
I want people to want to come in the store.
I know. And again, there's that magic moment of dryness that you just learn from using and
Carolyn, I agree. We do have good friends and good people here.
Such good friends and good people. Okay. Let's see if I can do a little better coming from the bottom here.
Hey, Linda Gardner.
Hi, Linda.
She's in Londonderry, Vermont on vacation.
Oh, Linda.
Oh, I bet it is beautiful there right now.
Okay, and there it goes. A little bit over here. Let's see what happened under here. I mean, there again, it's not a perfect science, but it's kind of the thing that I
Does it mean you usually need to wet it a little bit more or no?
probably, yeah, yeah.
You're so brave.
I know, look at that. What I don't want to do right now is wet this again.
Okay, tell me why.
To get that smudging and smearing.
Oh,
I mean, I might be able to
because
like
some of
right
it is-
there.
because
Yes,
some of it's
some
exposed?
it's exposed.
Yeah.
Yep. But when it's wet, so let's go ahead and spray this and get this soaking. And where's a palette knife? That might help. Yes. August designed some new labels for our Funkature. Cannot wait for you guys to see those. We had Jane's blessing to change those up. And they're pretty doggone cute.
Do you have to iron this afterwards or heat set it?
Well, it's been pretty heat set.
Yeah, it does it does say on the directions to iron or heat set with
Yeah.
the fabric medium
Yes,
anyway.
yes. I definitely would. See, I had a little smudge there, but it just could be I had a wrinkle in my fabric, and that's just the way it goes. If you walk fast enough, nobody's going to see it.
So that one, it would be hard to reuse. The one you just removed.
I would say so, Megan. Yeah, I would say.
Not
that would be-
impossible, but
It would be a challenge. You just want to, as much as you try to avoid getting this ink wet again, because it will smudge on you.
paint, not ink.
Ink. Yeah.
Thought it was a
the
paint,
the
like-
proprietary paint pigment.
Yes.
That's what we call it.
Yes.
But I want you guys to see what can happen in all circumstances. I would rather show you how I handle a tricky situation than to pretend like it's all like a perfect thing.
Mm-hmm.
So,
A perfect practice with proprietary
paint pigments.
Perfect process.
So here's the other thing I'm thinking, you know, if I were to let this dry on its own instead of force heating it, like I was blasting that with some heat. So I might have over dried it, if that makes sense. And that's why I'm having a little more trouble than what I want to have. But this little flat
palette knife. It's
Are
from
those from Decoupage Queen? Yeah,
they're
that's
set
a
of-
great.
it's a set
That
of
actually
palette
works
knives.
really well to begin to lift this. Look at that.
That's a really good deal on that set of palette knives. It's like,
Yeah, it is.
I don't know how many's in that set.
5
5 or 6 maybe for $14.95.
I go through palette knife. I have so many sets of palette knives. I love. Okay, I gotta come back to that little section right there. It's gonna happen, you guys. You think, like, why don't I just buy a piece of fabric that looks like
We don't do
this?
things the easy
We
way.
don't. No, we don't. Let's get that wet down. Now, another trick that I've done, even when I'm doing paint with my inlays, is you can kind of lift up the edge of that carrier sheet a little bit, so you got a little bit of a tabby that you're going to work with. It sometimes makes it a little easier to pull. Yeah, look at that one. I let it soak a little bit longer, and look how much easier that's pulling off, you guys. Look at that. See? Beautiful. Put that aside. Let this soak just a little bit more. Is it perfect? No, because you're dealing with fabric, and that's a movable medium as well. I gotta get that one up. That's better. But see here, I had a smudge. It's all right. I lost my A for Paris. But you can see that if I let this really kind of soak in, get nicely dampened, it's going to come off so much easier. See that, how that lifts that, loosens it and lifts it right up. There we go. Just going to loosen along the edge. And there we go. Yeah, it's all about the timing and letting that like the water soak into this carrier sheet. That's really important. Then we lay those flat to dry. I'm gonna double check to make sure. This is the one that I probably had the worst time with right here, but I rushed it. But I'm also gonna be like, you know what, I don't care.
I don't think it looks bad.
No, I don't either. I never mind stuff like that. Well, yes, I do.
Yeah, don't
All
lie.
right, I'm not going to lie about it.
You can't bold-faced lie.
You're right, I can't. But I would toss another pillow over this, a companion pillow.
Thank you, Rachel.
I think I got everything. I do. I'm looking. Got all the carrier sheet gone. Let me pull this tape away.
We miss you, Deb.
And is that Deb Bird?
Yes.
She was so sweet checking in on me. Are you following doctor's orders?
Yes.
Like, oh my gosh, you're worse than one of my kids.
Well, one of your kids in particular.
Yes, exactly.
Could you gently sand the area that's sticking, Carolyn asked?
I wouldn't. I think the key, Carolyn, is to make sure that you get that carrier sheet, let that water seep down and soak down in. And that's going to loosen up. You saw how much easier this one was to pull off than these up here because I allowed that dampness to penetrate the carrier sheet. Then you can either iron this or use your heat gun. And then you'll want to seal this, but I would use a spray sealer. You could mix a 50-50 mix with like Fusion Tough Coat and water and give that a couple of mists and then brush your top coat on it. Or you can use like a Krylon, that's what I did. I don't know if there's a fabric stuff that you can seal with. I have not done fabric stuff in so long that.
And could you, maybe you answered it just the way you answered that. I was reading another question. Could you sand it a little just to distress it and then seal it again? Of course.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Well, oh, wait a minute. No, I wouldn't. Because these pigments are still fresh, if you sand this, it'll smudge and bring up those pigments and not in a good way. So here's what I would say to you. Practice. Practice your technique. See what works for you. And then be willing to go for it. Mine's still a little bit wet here, so. I have a little piece of carrier sheet right there. Okay, so again, it's not a perfect situation, but it's a beautiful situation. Then I'll turn this inside out and I'll stitch right along that bottom. And I will have my pillow insert go in. I can fold this over the top. Oh, that also hides a little bit of that. And I think it's a really pretty look. I love this. I really love this, you guys. It's such a fun way to use the inlays and try something new and different. So again, off-brand, don't expect perfect results, but expect a beautiful result. Yes.
That's not true. I think that is a beautiful result.
It is beautiful. It is beautiful to me.
Don't expect a perfect result.
Don't expect
but
a
definitely
perfect
expect
result.
a beautiful result.
Yeah. I mean, it is truly from the beginning of inlays been the thing that I've loved the most about them is that I love that like surprise a little bit to see what's going to happen, and I love that worn organic quality to them, which makes them totally different than a transfer that you rub on or decoupage that you just apply. So don't be afraid of these. I think I love like take a little, like I said, a little snack size piece and practice. There's a lot, there's 8 pages that you can play with, and it's always fun to experiment with your own products and see what kind of results you get. So this is the last of our series. And remember, we did this beautiful tote bag. All of these are individual patches. This is the I.O.D. Saint Germain over a fabric patch. These are decoupage on fabric patches. Awesome bag. And then I just stitched them all. I left this one as a pocket, but really 3 such fun techniques, you guys. I hope that you enjoyed watching us play around and experiment with these inlays. I think it was fun.
It was fun.
Yeah, it was.
Everybody had a great time.
You guys.
And Carolyn even said bravo.
Bravo. Thank you, Carolyn. Have a wonderful rest of your day. We'll see you on Wednesday. Take care.
Bye. Is it off?